Alright, how's it going, everybody? We're back with some more Morpho close, folds, and creases. Starting back at the torso, so that is page 28. Let's see if we got anything. Okay, so to start off this chapter, I've chosen a simple piece of fabric tied around the body. There are many ways to tie a sarong. I don't know what that is. Reconstructing the order of operations makes it possible to understand the drawing. Cool. So let's jump into this. Get the old hand moving today. Hope you guys are having a good morning. It was a rainy couple days here in New York. I am officially an old person, so when it rains, my body hurts. Now I'm not old. I'm not old. I need to stop saying that. But yeah, I get very my arm hurts when the rain comes, and I'm not complaining. It's just weird. I think I'm allowed to say at the very least, it's weird, and I don't like it. But today it's a beautiful day outside. I can't wait to get out there. I'm actually probably gonna go on a run right after we're done recording. Okay, real quick too, just to keep it a little focused, got an anchor point right over there, anchor point right here. You see where these two creases are pointing towards? And even this guy right here, that would be another anchor point. Then we've got one more anchor point right here. Cool. Two, not to be a repeater, but just make sure that you're not just trying to just draw what you see. This is mostly for the people that maybe a little bit, I don't know, that beginner level, I guess. Try not to just start drawing these folds that you're seeing. Like, remember to kind of draw that mannequin underneath it, because a lot of the times the folds basically, not even a lot of times, basically all the time, folds are basically just following the body. So if you don't draw like a good body underneath it, you're kind of just guessing, which, can work. Some people can pull that off. I don't think my work looks particularly good when I guess it, but who knows? So I would say better to stay on the safe side and just draw even just like kind of like, like a really simple mannequin like this, right? Like, that's kind of what's cool about this book, is like even the anatomy portions of this are kind of simple because we're mostly just focusing on the wrinkles and the creases. So we've got an anchor point, would be this bow, right? See how but then as you see, as we get along, like along the outside of this body here, we're literally just following the curves of the body. right? Just like that. Got this joint. Anchor point basically on this one is everything is going to that bow. Alright, so I'm just going to finish the body real quick. Okay, got that body in there. Now I can do this. And do your best. I mean, I know this bow is pretty tricky to draw, but just take your time, you know. Okay, so we've got everything that you're gonna see in this is all headed inward. Now we've got more of these kind of like spirals, but if you notice, like the spirals are basically just an S, right? Like the spirals are literally just like that. These books, the Morpho series is really good because it's mostly just showing you rather than telling you what's going on. Like it uses like a lot of, you know, kind of visual cues. So if you need to, don't be afraid to kind of talk it out loud or write down notes. Actually, just leave this flat. Okay. Anchor point is going to be up here. And then we've got like a little bit of, kind of from last chapter when we were drawing those scarves. You know, this thing is like kind of wrapping around. All right. And then we've got the one big fold just right here. And then I'm just going to extend this little mannequin out just so we can get a little bit more of what's going on over here. Just like that. But again, anchor point A, and then you can even see that these lines over here are all kind of basically just going up to anchor point B. Let's see if I have enough room here for this guy. Let's just draw him on another piece of paper. Okay. Anchor point A right here, anchor point B over yonder. And like, this is just to kind of show you, right? Like, you can kind of, once you kind of know where your anchor points are going, you can really kind of just start making things up, right? Just as long as you've got wrinkles headed in that direction, you know, you can kind of really just get in here and just make this stuff up, or like, you know, take an intuitive approach to it, which is what I really like about these Morpho books, is that they're kind of more so just trying to get your confidence up to just like, you know, it's like know like the basic kind of rules and then kind of go forth and just kind of wing it. That, right? And we could even add, you know, see what I mean by like kind of just like winging it, right? Like, you could just even say, if you really wanted to go hard with it, right? And then we got last one. Cool. Anchor points again, right? A and B. Now, you know, obviously, if we had more time, the really good practice that you can do is, you know, you'd probably open up like a clothing catalog or something, or go to like, you know, Hermes.com or something. And, you know, actually kind of study actual costume designs, right? Because that's basically what he was doing in this book, is you know, a lot of these are just studies, right? So don't be afraid to go do that, especially like say you don't have a project going. I always say to just, you should have a project going while you're doing these studies, so you're not just studying, you know what I mean? You're not just like kind of like emptily, that's definitely not a word. Emptily, but you know what it means, right? Everyone gets what emptily means. You're not just kind of like studying for like study's sake. The lower edge of certain wide flowing garments, skirts, robes, saris, etc. take the same shape as the lower edge of a curtain. It can be easier to first draw the wavy line that connects the visible and hidden parts of the lower edge of the fabric. So this is kind of what we were saying earlier, like this whole like spiral thing, right? We'll read as we go. So this is kind of what they were saying, right? Like it's kind of easier if you start with this, right? Bring down your straight lines, and then you're just emulating again the lines that you've already kind of made, right? Again, start with that, and then you can either just bring down vertical lines, like that. And then one more example. You could even start with like you know, kind of a straight, a little bit of a curve to it, and then from behind that, right? Come up there and do that. Let's get these figures drawn in here. The name of the game is Lightworks. Sorry, I'm listening to some Jay Dilla. Hopefully it's not being picked up by the microphone. Cool. I'm just gonna draw all these figures real quick. Just to save like a little bit of time. That. If it helps, again, do that line of action. Right, a little line of action beforehand. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put some clothing on these guys, or ladies, sorry. It looks like we kind of have even like a staircase effect. Good. And again, right, like it's okay if you kind of, like I didn't make mine look exactly like how he drew it. But it's totally okay. So I guess this would be like that, right? Like if we're drawing through. But all you're really going to see is something that looks more like this. Right? So I guess even for down here, right? Like we could do something like that. And then knowing that our anchor point is up here, or probably our anchor point would be right around here, since this looks like this connects to like her waist. You can just make the assumption that these are just like kind of like curtains and they just go straight up and down. Right. I'm actually going to draw this heron real quick just because hair is kind of similar, and every time I kind of see it in this book, I'm just going to quickly just kind of jot it down just to get a little bit of hair practice in. Even though that looks like crap, but it's okay. Cool. All right, so we've got this is like kind of like, so it's like if you're just kind of drawing it one for one, it's a little harder to just kind of like, there's a part of me that's like, okay, should I just do this first, right? Or are we just drawing what we're seeing? I guess like you could just mix it up and just try to, like, we'll do that for this, right? We're not gonna look at the drawing because we're gonna like all of these folds are basically cascading down from this anchor point that would be right over here. Right. So I'm just gonna kind of just make it up just to kind of see if I can kind of guess. Just based off of the rule that we've kind of set up here, right? Which is all of these wrinkles aren't chaos, right? They're all going towards a point. So got pretty close, just like not looking at the actual thing that we're referencing here. So try to maybe do that a couple times, just to kind of really just trying to hone in on that information that we're taking in here. Because if you're just blindly kind of just copying, you know, it's a little harder to kind of keep things locked into your brain. So, and at the very least, just while you're doing these studies, just always just try to be establishing where the anchor points are. So I'm guessing this one, since this is kind of more of like a sash. Right? Like it's kind of just falling behind her. And then again, right, like she's wearing like some kind of shirt, but look at what the shirt's doing, right? Shirt's just conforming to the body construction underneath. So you really kind of don't really have to guess as much with wrinkles. So we have another anchor point here. As you can see, we've got some lines that are heading over here. We got another anchor point right here because we have some lines that are coming from there. And then we've got a really big anchor point right here, right? This isn't the greatest drawing ever, but let's try and fix that. There we go. Got some lines going here. So there's almost A, B. Well, I guess this would all still be coming to here. So you really have, you know, A, B, and C for your anchor points. And then down here we've got that. Try to stagger. It looks like you're staggering the ends of these wrinkle lines. Like you don't want them all to be all like in line with each other. Like you can kind of play around with where the wrinkle lines stop, like the direction lines. All right. There are several ways to wear a sari. I have chosen one of the simplest ones as an example. The goal here being only to bring a certain logic to our drawing. So this is like just kind of like showing like how fabric folds into each other, it looks like. After wrapping the body under the belly, this long rectangle of fabric is folded a number of times in the front. Then all of the folds are pinched at the waist. The long end that has been saved up until that point serves as a final wrap for the body. Brought forward, it is laid across the shoulder. So little things like this definitely help. I'm just going to draw through. that. Sorry, my neck is giving me a little bit of agita. Let's do... So this one's a little confusing. But at any point, if any of this stuff's confusing, just draw through. Because when I was kind of learning, like ribboning, it's kind of what I kind of call it. It is a little confusing. So just try to just draw through, and just remember, like, whatever line you start with, you're basically coming down here and you're making that same line. Where were we? Right here. See what I mean? Like this line up here is the same line as this one up here. Like that's just kind of like the easiest way to do it. Obviously you can kind of, you know, do your own thing once you get really comfortable with it. Like sometimes you'll kind of see that, where like the line will kind of bump out. Right, and then back here, got something like that. Cool. Oh yeah, arms at the side. Okay, so when the arms lie alongside the body, they have no influence on the shape of the torso. Right. Clothes will be closest to the body on the most voluminous parts. So I'm guessing, talking about like your pecs or your breast is where clothes will be the closest to the body, right? So there won't be any wrinkles, right? See how there's no wrinkles on that chest part where the pecs are? There's no wrinkles really where the breasts are. There's just like these kind of like, where like the fabric is being kind of stretched. From the front, figure 1, the chest is what dominates the shape. So right here. Whether we are talking about pectorals or breast, see page 82 as well. In fatter bodies, the belly is often a third tension point. See page 54 and 55. The fabric will fall from these protruding volumes as if suspended with a loose garment. The folds will meet the points of the scapula, shoulder blades, and the back. So right there. Okay. Let's get some of those drawn in. See, even for this, right? Like just draw in even the arms, right? Might have to draw this smaller. Ah, probably not gonna be able to fit that there. Let's draw it down here. Cool. Okay, so we'll just start with this guy since he's the last one we finished. Tighten him up a little bit. Any observations you make? Write them down. So this is a tension point, and this is a tension point for the back. So, boom, boom. I have like one more. Like that. So for the back, I'm just going to write back folds go towards scapulas. Right. Up here. And I also want to say, I guess, like, the armpit, but maybe not. I mean, I feel like they do. Like, it'd be like pectorals, so it'd be like pecs, armpits, and shoulders, where all the tension points are. Whew. What did I do to my neck? Oh my gosh, sorry guys. I don't mean to complain, but... Okay, here on the front, we have tension points. Coming from these buttons, like the buttons on the top of this collared shirt, right? We've got seems like a pretty tight shirt. Right? So we've got a couple tension points here. You've got A, B, and then this would be like C. I think for me, I would personally just whittle it down to just trying to have like no more than like 3 points of tension on whatever I'm trying to draw. Okay. And then do you see how like we're still following the flow of that body, but also I kind of like to think of these as like stairs, like these bumps. You know what I'm saying? Like they're kind of like stairs. See how even the hair is kind of like a ribbon, right? So that's why, like, I personally, I wouldn't skip any hair that you run across in this book. You can skip like the faces and stuff because, you know, whatever. We already did that last book, right? cool. See, we've got these, I don't want to say they're stretch marks by any means, but think of them kind of as like, cause right, this is where like the breast would be. Oh, and then we got one more. And then you see like, okay, so we have these little guys, right, that are kind of heading towards where that shoulder is. Right, and they don't have to necessarily connect to the shoulder, but they're there. And then it seems like sleeves kind of flap out. So I'm just gonna write that. Right? See how these sleeves are kind of, they're initially kind of following the shoulder, and then they kind of just like flap out and kind of do their own thing. But again, pointed tensions are here, 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 and I almost want to say here as well. And then we already did this one, but cool. Yep, and then you see, flaps out. Got the bottom of your scapulas. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Page 33. In a case of clothing that is loose and a little bit heavy, the suspension of the fabric is even more perceptible. In this front view, the folds drop from the points of the breast, whereas in the rear view, figure 4, the shape of the raincoat is marked by 2 long vertical folds hanging from the tips of the shoulder blades. I could have used this last night as I was inking, where's the back of these characters? There's a panel I had to ink. This panel right here, right? Like, just trying to remember that, you know, the back view and where things like drape down from that. I kind of had to make it up, but it's nice to know now that it comes from the scapulas. I also just was like, I'm not going to take a picture of myself doing this. That was not a shameless plug at some Nosebleed pages. Some people might be like, oh, look at this guy, he's plugging his comic. But no, like, that pose in particular, right? That was after getting through the anatomy book, right? Like, there was a time where, you know, a month or two ago, I would have probably maybe taken a picture of myself doing that pose. But I felt confident enough to just build that pose from thin air. Busted it out. All right. Sweatshirts are my favorite to draw on characters. I still always find them tough. But again, at the end of this book, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. All right, so this would obviously be our anchor point, right? You see how everything is flowing towards that. We got the breasts. And then, like, there's like this kind of drop off, right? Where everything is kind of hanging from those breasts. And then also kind of coming from the back, it looks like. And then it looks like he just kind of did like some volumetric stuff right here. Got some bumps. Right. Tension points. Shoulder, right? Elbow. And I won't even almost say like the wrist, right? You've got a couple here. Like you've got this one going up here, this one going back towards the elbow. The elbow is again kind of like the breast, where wherever there's fabric on it, especially if it's loose, it's gonna kind of flap away. So interesting to know. And then this is a pretty cool breakdown right here. I'm gonna just draw it in. Because what I think it kind of shows is like how you can kind of maybe think very interesting. I feel like we've drawn this like 14 times. But again, let's just do it again for the culture right here. This is for the culture. Because this kind of actually shows you, this is like a little bit of a looser garment for the back here. Okay, so we're getting a lot more folds here. The looser the fabric is, the more folds you're gonna get. And he hasn't really explicitly, he's kind of said that in here, but I really kind of learned that more so from the Dynamic Folds book. As awful of a time that book was to to not even finish. I never finished it, but you do learn some things. Okay. Wow, so it's almost like these scapulas. I mean, this is a lot of information to be taking in, so do not fret if you're like, what the frick? But it kind of seems like, because he kind of drew these little volumes here, it's like the scapulas really almost create this like valley, right? Like one could say we could even like shade all that in, and you kind of get this valley. Either that or this guy has a really bad case of winged scapula. That's a little medical joke for you. There you go. And then let's just get this little guy drawn in here, and that'll probably bring us right towards the end. I'm going to just draw both. Okay, and then we've got, so all of these folds from the back, they're all headed, they're all coming from the scapulas. So scapulas and almost like, I guess one could say the armpits, but really it looks like the scapulas. And again, we've got that valley caused by the scapulas. So it's really all scapulas. It's pretty crazy. And then yeah, we've got an arm. Doing that. Alright, so looks like you can just kind of do something like that. But that's pretty cool, man. I'm just gonna write scapulas create a valley. And then all folds on the back all back folds are from scapulas. Cool. All right. That is going to do it for us today. We stopped at page 34, and that's where we'll pick it up. But learned a lot today. Hope you guys did too. We'll see you next time. Peace.